Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
Our character is a foreigner to Central Yharnam. They seek the help of blood ministration, an operation carried out by members of the Healing Church. The rumors of this blood transfusion spread like wildfire amongst the common folk of Yharnam, and surrounding cities got word of these rumors too. Rumors of a tonic so powerful that it could cure any illness, revert the drawbacks of aging, and unknowingly turn men into foul beasts.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
And so, this is where our journey begins. The signed contract in the beginning binds the player to the duties of being a hunter. To seek and uncover Yharnam's deepest of mysteries, while participating in the nightly hunt. Only thing is, this night is alike no other, for dawn never seems to arise, and what feels like a nightmare is everlasting.
You found yourself a hunter.
Thank you for joining me in today's video. Today I will try my best to break down the cognitive, emotional, physical, and social demands within Bloodborne. More specifically, I will be analyzing the PvP component to Bloodborne, referred to as invasions, meaning that I infiltrate the world of another player in attempts to hunt down a different kind of prey, other hunters. It is completely possible to play Bloodborne solo without any influence from other players. However, if you are seeking help from other hunters looking to co-op with you, this also opens the door for a sinister player to invade your world. What this means as the invader is that you must be prepared to fight more than one enemy. Oftentimes, an invader is challenged with taking on 2 or 3 hunters by themselves. First, I must preface that the goal of an invasion is to ultimately kill the host of the world you invade. To invade another world means that you join somebody who is searching for online help, but instead of being a friendly hunter willing to co-op, you are treated as a hostile along with the other enemies in the world. So let's begin with some cognitive demands. I've narrowed down some that once mastered can establish for a deadly hunter. The first is positioning and movement. I put these two together because spacing an attack just within reach of your opponent is only set up by how controlled you are with your movement mechanics. This would be walking, sprinting, rolling, dodging, etc. The next cognitive demand is finding a rhythm with your dodge and parry timings. Dodging can be used to close distance, create space, or to, of course, dodge through an attack. Parrying in Bloodborne means to interrupt an attack before they hit you, but after the attack animation has already started. With only a well-timed gunshot can you stun the opponent and send them to their knees. This dropping of guard leaves the opponent in a vulnerable state, and by holding down the light attack button when close enough, you can perform a visceral attack. This allows for some insane burst damage potential. This parry timing also means recognizing your opponent's patterns and punishing them for predictable attacks. And lastly, there are some purchasable items within Bloodborne's main hub area. They can serve as extra resources for the player to use, or for item buffs like onto weapons. Here are some examples of me using some acquired spells and regular tools I use to mix up my combat. And that's pretty much what it boils down to, is just mixing it up and being unpredictable. Next up will be emotional demands. The emotional demands are all about maintaining a tranquil headspace in the face of adversity. Emotions are brief and intense by nature, and the emotions of antagonizing defeat will only build to the emotions of glorious victory. During an intense duel, there are exchanges of damage that can cause panic to alter a player's decision-making. The definition of emotional demands reads, "It is the implicit or explicit attempt to modify the natural trajectory of one's emotions." This demand is about emotional regulation and mood management. I think it helps to treat a death like an opportunity to learn, rather than perceiving them as failure. Next will be physical demands. There are two types of physical demands that I will analyze: controller demands and exertional demands. Controller demands refers to the manual input of buttons pressed by the player to manipulate their avatar or environment within a system. Continued experience with a certain controller will facilitate the natural mapping relationship a player has with their controls. The most common controller demands are the attack, dodge, and healing buttons. Expanding into more creative playstyles will require more trial and error to see what works best against other hunters. Next is physical exertion. Physical exertion demands refers to the amount of effort required from the body to perform a certain task. The only physical exertion demands I could see in Bloodborne is the fast-paced thumb and finger movement and the occasional times you sit up straight or stand up in celebration, and sometimes frustration, after a boss fight or a PvP fight. There are very low amounts of physical exertion demands required to complete Bloodborne. However, controlling your heart rate and breath is also a good thing to remember whenever you're trying to control the physiological response your body has to panic and stress. And finally, we have made it to our last demand, social demands. Social demands in video games stem from the presence of others. The noun others could also reference NPCs, physical audience members, or online player-to-player relationships. It's sort of funny to think that there's a social code within Bloodborne, but usually players will exchange gestures or emotes to begin a duel. These gestures are often to show respect to one another and symbols to initiate combat. Since there is no voice chat option between yourself and the host you invade, nonverbal communication takes a higher priority when reading the room.